Hey everybody, this is a guided walkthrough for day number 3 from the Advent of Cyber event for 2025 from the TryHackMe platform. Today's challenge is called Splunk Basics. Did you SEIM? Did you SEIM? So the first thing we want to do when we do this challenge is we want to join the room, and after we've joined the room, we can go down to task number 1. Okay, we've got a story going on. Let's learn a little bit more about this. Okay, it's almost Christmas in Wareville, and the team of the Best Festival Company, TBFC, is busy preparing for the bigger celebration. Everything is running smoothly until the SOC dashboard flashes red. A ransom message suddenly appears. Attack. 1,000 HopSec coins for McSkitty, or SOCMIS ends tonight. Okay? So the message comes from King Malhair, the jealous ruler of HopSec Island, who's tired of Easter being forgotten. He sent his bandit bunnies to attack TBFC systems and turn Christmas into his new holiday, Eastmas. With McSkitty missing and the network under attack, the TBFC SOC team will utilize Splunk to determine how the ransomware infiltrated the system and prevent King Malhair's plan from being compromised. Prevent King Malhair's plan from being compromised before Christmas. Okay, so what are we doing today? Learning objectives. So ingest and interpret custom log data in Splunk. Create and apply custom field extractions. Use search processing language, SPL, to filter and refine search results. Conduct an investigation within Splunk to uncover key insights. So what do we need to do today? So we're just going to record, we're going to refer to this card here. Do we need to start a VM today? Yes. Is there a direct link available? Yes. Okay, so start the VM by clicking on Start Machine button below. So let's go ahead and do that. So we just need to click on the green button here. And that'll start up the instance, which has Splunk on it, and that we're going to be accessing. Okay, so start your VM. Once the machine is up and running, you can connect to the Splunk SIM by visiting this IP address right here in the browser. I think anybody should be able to access this. Give this a try. Okay, if you get a 502 error when accessing the link, please give the Splunk instance more time to fully boot up. So let me try accessing it from over here. Okay, so this isn't, it's not up yet. So we should probably wait for another couple seconds, and then we'll try it again. Okay, it's up. It's up now. So Splunk is a very, very powerful tool that that defenders use to ingest their logs, and Splunk also allows you to search for very specific patterns inside of logs, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's go ahead, and we'll be jumping back and forth between the Splunk view and the web page while we're working through the. All right, so next thing we need to do is we need to click on this. We are done, and then we're going to be doing task number 2, log analysis with Splunk. Okay, so in the Splunk instance, the data has been pre-ingested for us to investigate the incident. On the Splunk interface, click on the search and reporting on the left panel as shown below. So we're going to do that over here. Click on search and reporting. And then we can start looking through the logs, but we need to do a couple more things first. Okay, so on the next page, type index equals main in the search bar to show all of the ingested logs. Okay, so note that we need to select all time as the time frame from the dropdown on the right side of the search bar. So let's go ahead and do that. So index equals main. So here, index equals main. And we need to do the time frame. So we don't see any results here. We need to go all the way over here beside the magnifying glass and click on all time over here in the corner. And then we're going to see a lot of different events here. So it says here underneath the search window, there are 18,700 some odd events, and that's a lot of stuff to look through. So after running the query, we'll be presented with two separate data sets that have been pre-ingested into Splunk. We will verify this by clicking on the source type fields in the fields list on the left side of the page. Okay, so there are two types of sources that we're looking at. There's web traffic, which is events related to web connections, and there's firewall logs. So this is data containing firewall logs showing the traffic allowed or blocked. The local IP assigned to the web server is this one over here. So 10.10.1.15. Okay, so let's go ahead and confirm that over here. So in the Splunk menu here, we can go down to the fields and we can take a look at the different source types. So source type here, we've got web traffic, which is 17,000 events, and we got firewall logs, which is 1,500 some odd events. Okay, and they give us a lot of statistics about percentages and stuff as well. It's very, very useful. Let's go back. Okay, so we're going to do some initial triage. Start a basic search across the index using your own custom type web traffic using the following query. So search query is going to be source web traffic. So we can click on this. We can click on web traffic and it'll show us the web traffic and all of the different events here. And we can dig down deeper from here. So we're currently looking at all of the web traffic events. Okay, so what are we doing next? So let's break down our search for the results for better understanding. Search queries, there's time ranges, there's timelines, there's selected fields, there's interesting fields. So these are all associated with this with the interface over here. And we're going to be interacting with different parts of the UI. So it might take a little bit of time to go through all this stuff. We'll cover this stuff as we go. So let's see. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to visualize the log timeline. So let's chart the total event count over time grouped by day to determine the number of events captured per day. So we're just going to give this query right here. So index equals main, source type equals traffic, and then we're going to do the time chart span by 1 day count. So we can grab these. So when you're working inside of Splunk, it might be good to keep track of these different search queries over here so that you can use them again and again. Okay, so let's go ahead and go here. We will paste in the new search, hit enter, and that's going to give us our information. So it tells us over here which days received how many events. But the other way we can do it is we can do this through the visualizer. So up here we've got events, we've got patterns, we got statistics. We also have visualization. So if we click on visualization, we'll see a chart, well, a graph, a bar graph of the different events we get for each day. So we can see that I think the next question is going to be asking us about the greatest number of events. So it is this one over here, October 12th, 2025. You got 2267 for the number of events. Okay, let's go back. So it tells you about using the visualization view over here. And we can append reverse onto the function at the end to display the results in descending order, showing the day with the maximum number of events near the beginning. So we can just grab this and we can go back to Splunk and paste it in. And this isn't for visualization, this is for statistics. So statistics here, it does a descending order from number of events. So we got 2, 2, 6, 7, and then it goes down from there. Okay. So if you find that, actually, I think I might be able to make this text a little bit bigger. Yeah, okay. Let me know if it's visible. because I need to make this nice and readable when I'm recording the video. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so next we'll do some anomaly detection. So now that we've examined the days with the abnormal logs using the table and the graph, let's use the same search query to examine various fields to hunt for suspicious values. We need to go back to the Events tab to continue. So we'll go to the Events tab over here. So just click on it. And what are we looking for? Okay, it will show us the details about the user agents captured so far. Click on the user agent field in the left-hand panel. Okay, so here in Events, we can scroll down until we see the word user agent. So it says user agents 11. This is basically talking about the web traffic, and the user agent is the type of device that is being used to communicate with the server. So if we click on it, we see that we've got a bunch of different browsers, and different devices that are being used to communicate with the server. So we got popular web browsers like Firefox, and we've also have, oh, this is Safari, and we got Chrome, and we've got, not sure which one this is. So, okay, this is Safari as well. So this is Safari. Are they all Safari? Interesting. Okay, so that's the user agents. Upon closer examination, it becomes clear that apart from legitimate user agents like Mozilla's variants, we're receiving a large number of suspicious ones which we will need to investigate further. So we've got client IP. The second field we will examine is the client IP, which contains the IP addresses of the clients accessing the web server. We can immediately see one particular IP standing out, which we'll investigate further. So we can go back to Splunk here, and we're going to click on client IP over here. So we're just going to click on it. And then we see that there is a large amount of traffic that came in from this IP address right here. So 198.1.100.55, and it makes up 45% of all of the traffic. So this is really unusual. So stuff like this typically points towards some sort of brute force attack or some sort of scans that are being run on the web server from this particular IP address. Okay, so path. The third file field we will examine is path, which contains the URI being requested and accessed by the client IPs. The results shown below clearly indicate some attacks worth investigating. Okay, so we're looking at path. Let's do that. Down, down, down. Click on path. Okay, and we see some suspicious looking stuff. So we've got some what look like could be attack payloads over here. So ID1 and sleep, and we've got another one looking for ... etc. password. So these are examples of SQL injection and local file inclusion attacks respectively. And yeah, so it definitely points at the possibility that this web server was attacked. Okay, filtering out benign values. So we know King, Malhares, bunnies use scripts and tools, not standard browsers. Let's filter out all the standard traffic. Let's exclude common legitimate user agents. The following query will remove legitimate user agents from the queries and only show the suspicious ones, which we will investigate further. Let's exclude some common legitimate user agents. The following query will remove legitimate user agents from the results and only show the suspicious ones, which we'll investigate further. So we're basically looking at the same web traffic stuff, only we're going to exclude user agents from Mozilla, user agents from Chrome, user agents from Safari, and user agents from Firefox. So this was very good for drilling down into just specific events. So we'll go up here and we will get rid of what is already here, and then we will filter out. So now that all these common user agents have been filtered out, if we go down to user agents, we only see the ones from these tools over here. But yeah, so these are all user agents that are associated with different tools and scripts. So we have common ones like wget and curl. We also have some from Python here as well. And this one right here, so this stuff like right here, SQL map and Havij, these are associated with hacking tools. This is SQL map and Havij. I've never really used this tool before, but if you see that these kind of tools are attacking your system, this is a sure sign that you're actually being attacked. Okay. So the output reveals interesting results. By clicking on the client IP field, we can see a single IP address being responsible for all the suspicious user agents. Okay, so if we click on client IP, so all of the attacks came from this IP right here, 100% of them, and there were 7,800 different events. Okay. Narrowing down suspicious IPs. In real-world scenarios, we often encounter various IP addresses constantly attempting to attack our servers. To narrow down on the IP addresses that do not send requests from common desktops or mobile browsers, we can use this query. So stat counts by client IP sort count head 5. Okay, let's go ahead and try this one out. Copy that, go back in here, and we will do a new search. Okay, so now we're only looking at the events from this particular IP address. So this is the one that's doing all the attacking. So the result confirms that the top IP used by the bandit bunnies in the search query, the minus in the sort minus count part will sort the result by count in reverse order. It's the same as using the reverse function. Let's pick this IP and filter out to see what footprints of the activities captured. Tracing the attack chain. So we will now focus on the selected IP address to trace their steps chronologically, confirming the use of multiple tools and payloads. Don't forget to replace redacted with the IP that we're dealing with. Okay, so we definitely need to go in here and we need to record this IP address because we're going to be using it in a bunch of other commands. So let's go ahead and copy it down. Okay, so reconnaissance. We'll start by searching for the initial probing of exposed configuration files used in the query below. So we're just going to plug in this right here. We're going to substitute in the IP address. Okay, so this result confirms the attacker used low-level tools such as curl and wget and was met with 404, 403, and 401 status codes. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's look at the events. Okay, so we see a lot of code 40 server status 403, so server status 500, server status 403, server status 403. This means that there was a lot of traffic that wasn't going through, and this happens a lot when you do automated attacking. Okay, so enumeration, vulnerability testing. Search for common path traversals and open redirect vulnerabilities. Okay, so we're going to go in here and we're going to use this search query. Every time we got to plug in our IP address. So the output shows the resources the attacker is trying to access. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Splunk. Okay, so it looks like what they're doing is we're looking for path or path redirect. Okay, so the output shows the resources the attacker is trying to access. Let's update the search query to get the count of the resources requested by the attacker. This search query is filtering on the paths that contain either dot dot slash or the term redirect in it, as shown below. This is done to look for footprints of path traversal attempts to we need to update in the search query to escape characters. Okay, so this is why the output looks kind of funny, because we need to escape certain characters in the search query. Okay, we'll go back in and plug that in. So it is okay. So it looks like they tried to redirect to an evil.site. Interesting. And they also tried to do a local file inclusion attack. So local file inclusion is trying to read local web server files, and you usually see these kind of dot dot slash patterns inside of the payloads for those attacks. Okay, so we see that so the attackers here tried to do a local file inclusion attack. They probably succeeded. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many events with where they tried to access the same thing. Okay, so quite interesting results. Reveals attempts to read system files, showing the attacker moved beyond simple scanning to active vulnerability testing. Okay, and we can also see a SQL injection attack. Find the automated attack tool and its payload by using the query below. So here we're looking for the user agents for SQL map and Havij. And let's go ahead and take a look at those inside of Splunk as well. Got to plug in the IP address every time. Okay, so here we see a bunch of different SQL injection payloads. You can usually tell what an SQL injection payload is by there will be a bunch of SQL commands included in the payload. So stuff like and sleep and select, stuff like that. So what's happening here is they're trying to do some sort of what is it called? Time-based. So time-based SQL, um, time-based blind SQL injection attacks. Okay. So the above results confirm that the use of a known SQL injection in specific attack strings like sleep, a 504 status code, often confirms a successful time-based SQL injection attack. Okay. And next we'll take a look at exfiltration attempts. So search for attempts to download large sensitive files, such as backups and logs. We can use the query below. Okay, so we've got, okay. So we're looking for stuff like backup.zip, logs.tar.gz, and we're looking for instances where where somebody's trying to download these things. Okay, so let's go back to Splunk, and we need to plug in our IP. Okay, so there were attempts to download these files with different tools such as zgrab or wget or curl. So these are the logs.tar.gz, and they didn't manage to get any backup files. So we didn't see anything like backup.zip, but they did get the logs. The results indicate that the attacker was exfiltrating large chunks of compressed log files using tools like curl, zgrab, and more. We can confirm the details about these connections in the firewall logs. Okay, so ransomware staging in RCE. Requests for sensitive archives like logs.tar.gz and config indicate that the attacker is gathering data for double extortion. In the logs, we've identified some requests related to bunny lock and shell.php. Let's use the following query to see what those search queries are about. So we got a specific search query looking for specific things in the path. So we got bunnylock.bin. So this is some sort of program which is probably going to lock up your files. And we got shell.php command. So this is a web shell. And let's see if we can find any of that. Go back up. Plug in our IP address. Okay, and we find stuff like this. So we find shell.php being used as a web shell and giving different web server commands. So we got who am I? We've got oh, they're running the bunnylock.bin from the web shell. That's interesting. So an interesting thing is that when you have a web shell established on a web application, you can basically run any commands you like, and you don't necessarily need to get a proper reverse shell connection as long as you have a web shell. So this is what we're supposed to see over here. Okay. So the above results clearly confirm a successful web shell. The attacker has gained full control over the web server and is also able to run commands. This type of attack is called remote code execution, or RCE. The execution of shell.php indicates a ransomware-like program executed on the server. Next thing we're going to do is correlate outbound C2 communication. So we pivot the search to the firewall logs using the compromised server IP, and they tell us what the server IP is here as the source and the attacker IP as the destination. Okay, so we're just going to go and we're going to look at the firewall logs now with this search query. We can go up. Okay, and we need to provide the IP. Okay, and what do we see here? It says here reason C2 contact. So C2 contact, I'm not completely sure where they get this stuff from, but it's certainly really interesting. We also see that we're only looking at the actions that were allowed by the firewall and are to our compromised server and from the attacker server here. Okay, this query provides the server immediate. This query proves the server immediately established an outbound connection to the attacker's C2 IP on the suspicious destination port, and the action allowed and reason C2 contact fields confirm the malware communication channel was active. So volume of data exfiltrated. We can also use the sum function to calculate the sum of bytes transferred using the bytes transferred field as shown below. Okay, so we're just going to grab the command here, and the command is going to get all of the stuff from the firewall logs that were allowed from the vulnerable server to the attacker server, and we're going to see how many bytes were transferred in total. So just going to copy that. Okay, and we see here from so this is our source IP, so our vulnerable server, and it transferred over a bunch of different bytes over here. So 12, what's that? 10,000, 12,000, 126,000. Yeah, 126,000. Okay, so the results show a high volume of data transferred from the compromised server to the C2 server. Okay, conclusion. Identity found. So the attacker was identified via the highest volume of malicious web traffic originating from the external IP. Intrusion vector. The attack followed a clear progression in the web logs. Reconnaissance. Probes were initiated via curl, wget, and looking for configuration files and testing path traversal vulnerabilities. So abuse, the use of SQL map user agents and specified payloads of sleep confirmed that there was a successful hacking phase. Okay, payload delivery, the action on objective was established by the final successful execution of the command cmd bunnylock.bin via the web shell. C2 confirmation. The pivot to the firewall logs proved the post the PostX activity, the internal compromised server established an outbound C2 connection to the attacker's IP. Okay, so let's go ahead and answer the questions, and then we can wrap up the room. What is the attacker IP found attacking and compromising the web server? So the web server in question is 198.151.100.55. Okay, so which day was the peak traffic in the logs? So before we answer this question, we're going to go down to the last question. Examine the firewall logs. How many bytes were transferred to the C2 server IP from the compromised web server? So the reason why we're answering this right now is because we've got it up on the screen over here. I'm just going to copy this, paste that in. Okay, so we'll answer the questions now in order. Which day was the peak traffic in the logs? We can do that very easily by going up here, and we don't. So let's see. Source equals main, right? What was so every query starts with okay, we'll do source type equals, let's see. So up here, the first ones are just index equals main. Okay. Index equals main. Okay, we've got all this stuff, and we see that we don't actually need to do anything super fancy. We can see here that the largest number of events happened on October 12th, 2025. So let's go and answer that question. $12, 10, 2025. Okay, and what is the count of the Havij user agent events found in the logs? So we can go back to the search. We can go over to user agents, and we'll look at the one for Havij. So Havij is 993 over here. That is the answer. Next question is, how many path traversal attempts to access sensitive files on the server, how many of these were observed? So path traversal attempts. So path traversal attempts were indicated with the ... pattern. And where were we looking for that? It was up here. This one here. Okay, and then we're going to go and paste it in. And then let's look at our events. Oh, we need to plug in our IP address. Okay, so how many of these are there? So it looks like there's 658. 658. Okay, and the last thing we need to do is we just need to click on this checkbox here, and then we're done. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for watching this guided walkthrough for day number 3, which was Splunk Basics. Did you SEIM from the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber 2025 event? If you enjoyed this guided walkthrough, please click on the like and subscribe buttons on the video and leave a comment underneath the video. But until next time, HackerFrogs out.
Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming.